Hello there, you beautiful people. My name is Willow, and welcome back to Supreme Commander Forge Alliance Forever, where today we're going to be looking at a 6v6 played on Adaptive Turtle Beach. So strap in, it's going to be a long one, it's going to be fun, and I hope you enjoy. So before we get into introducing the players, please consider subscribing. We're getting so close to that 1,000 subscriber mark, and I would really appreciate it. Also, go check out the Dualist. He is a friend of mine and another FAF content creator, and he is awesome. Now, on to the cast. Let's start introducing our players, and let's slow down the game because people are already probably about to start moving their comms. Starting in the top right with Team 1 and the Gray Cybran going by the name of Ismuth 93. Or 98, sorry, I can't read. Let's move down to the Pink Cybran by the name of Fat Hamster. He is a hamster and he is fat and he is going first air. Then we can move on to the Blue UEF going by the name of Betulos, and he has gone first land. Then we can move to his ally to the northwest. We have a Gray UEF. We've seen him before, and his name is Please. Then we can go down south to the Orange Aeon Best Faction going by the name of Hendrix Special F going first land. Then we can go ahead and look at the last player for Team 1, a Green Seraphim by the name of Dodge Rod going first land. Moving on to Team 2, we'll go ahead and speed it back up to normal speed. We're going to go look at the Cybran, the Cyan Cybran, not the Cybran. Cyan Cybran, very nice alliteration, played by the player Megaslav going first air. Then we can move forward to the Dark Red Cybran by the name of Geneva Convention. I know it's Convention or something like that, but who cares? His name should be Convention, and he's gone first land. Then we have a Purple Cybran going first land by the name of the Black Rabbit. And he is rocking this middle position. Up to the north, we have ourselves a Yellow Aeon by the name of Dave, or Zacher 1991? That's my guess. But he's playing the right faction, so who cares what his name is. Then we can move on to the White UEF in the middle by the name of TMK 2000 going first land and making his way out to the middle very early on. Then last but certainly not least for the entire game, we have a Pink Seraphim by the name of Dr. Nostradamus. He's a doctor. He has a PhD. Don't worry about it. Adaptive Turtle Beach. Let's talk about the map. About 10,000 reclaim. Most of it right here in the middle where the comms are about to start fighting. You have a lot of players in positions to play Navy or Air, so there can always be a mismatch on who has naval or air control. And we have we have multiple comms walking to the middle. We have a lot of fighting going on. It's kind of like a slightly more intense version of Setton's Clutch, but I would say the OG is still better. Going for the wreck of this Valiant, or is that a Valiant? That's a Valiant, right? Yeah, that's a Valiant wreck. Unless it's the battle cruiser, in which case, who knows? I thought the battle cruiser was bigger. And yeah, that is going to be how it looks for the moment. We'll have to keep an eye on who gets transports out to the islands. We actually already have one out from the Good Doctor, and he's making his way over to this island with that transport. Going to pick up those two mass extractors. And of course, we can look at the game balance. 92% game quality, a very good balance. And, well, we'll see what goes on. We also, of course, have to just take a look at the ratings overall. Most of these players would qualify for a subpar commander, but there are 3 players in particular who do not. Geneva Convention sitting on 1600 rating, and then we have Fat Hamster and Isma at 1100 for Isma and Fat Hamster at 1400. Those are the only players above 1000 rating in this game, so we'll have to keep an eye on them. They are the big players going to be making the big moves, as it were. And yeah, let's go ahead and check in on the reclaim numbers here at about the 4-minute mark. Overall, Team 1 is behind on reclaim, and reclaim is going better for Team 2. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, of course. Reclaim, such an important factor in the game, decides so much. You can be behind on mass generation, but if you are super ahead on Reclaim, you are actually just ahead on economy in general. We do have this dropout from the Doctor. He managed to drop 2 separate islands, which is going to be very nice for him. It's going to get those 4 mass extractors. Does not sound like a whole lot, but it is 4 mass extractors nonetheless. Can add up to be nearly, if not over, 100 mass if they all get T3 with mass storage. We have a little bit of combat going on between the 2 UEF comms here in the middle. We also have comms out from other players. We have Hendrik Special F over here, and we have gun speed and range on the way for the Black Rabbit as he is coming up to the front. And they could get aggressive on each other relatively early. The expansion for both sides going pretty well. We haven't really seen any kind of bomber harass or anything. Everybody kind of just standing up, squaring up, not doing any tricksy or annoying strategies. Just gonna man up, fight it like, you know, without that deception, without the early raiding, without the early bomber. Upgrades on the way for Fat Hamster, getting those mexes upgraded. Range on the way now for Hendrik, and of course that gun speed and range, 70% done for the Black Rabbit. He's gonna finish that very soon. And that's going to create a point of pressure for Team 2. But Team 1 bringing up another comm. Please has walked all the way over from his kind of position starting over here on the wing of the giant center landmass to the central area. I guess I should call it a peninsula, but wing sounds so much more cool. And we have these UEF comms all out in force today, going to be blapping away at each other. And the gun comm of Black Rabbit starting to make its way forward. TMK down to about 9,000 HP, which is a bit low. He is definitely below everybody else's comm here in the center. This gun comm could be very impactful if Hendrik cannot get his speed upgrade in a timely manner. It will be difficult for Team 1 to be able to deal with this. And we just have interceptors kind of floating around. We have some scouting going on from various sides of the team. Multiple, not very much scouting going on for Team 1, but now we have some scouts flying over out from Dodge Rod. And about the same story over here for Team 2. Neither team doing heavy scouting. Nobody looking for the cheese. Everybody agreeing to play it straight up. We have T2 Air now finishing up for Fat Hamster, and we could possibly see something sneaky or dirty like a Corsair Snipe. Damage and range now on the way for TMK 2000, as well as on the way for Betulas. And we also have Hendrik getting speed. So that will be a very spicy game very soon. These players are going to be able to kind of duke it out, throw their comms at each other. And overall, I guess we're getting close to about the 10-minute mark. Let's go ahead and see how Reclaim is going. All of the Reclaim here in the middle has kind of been scooped up, all of the major Reclaim points. And it's 10,000 for Team 1, 9,200 for Team 2. Not a huge discrepancy. These teams, of course, still there's some mass around the map to get. But overall, only 2,000 mass left on the map. We're going to have to start seeing units dying for players to get any more Reclaim, to be fair. So hopefully a little bit of action starts up. We've had kind of a slow early game. We have a T1 bomber out somewhere, and I cannot find it. May have already been shot down. Artillery. Where is this bomber? T1 bomber out from Puis, not quite getting any kills yet, so it's going to die without getting much done, getting shot down by the likes of Dave. And as far as Navy goes, we have multiple people sticking their toes into the water, including Dave, Dodge Rod, and the good Doctor. We also have a couple of naval factories out from Puis already. And now we have fighting breaking out in the middle. These teams going to be throwing units at each other quite effectively. damage and range finished up for both UEF comms. Well, damage and range not done for one of the comms on Team 1, but damage and range and gun speed and range done for Team 2. We have speed and range done on Hendrik as well, who's being forced into the water, and that is going to be difficult for him to deal with. Down to 7,000 HP. The comm of TMK also getting a little bit low. Hui's keeping his comm relatively healthy and picking off a few units. Got 5 kills onto the comm by now. 5 kills onto the comm of TMK as well. And Hendrik abusing the water right now. He's firing without being able to be fired upon, which is a little bit dirty. But you know, the Aeon, they gotta use every advantage in the book. They're just that big, that galaxy-brained. And Hendrik forced fully into the water now. And I accidentally turned off HUD, so I can't use one of my hotkeys. TMK still chasing off Hendrik, not letting him get back involved in all of the action. The Black Rabbit deciding to build some PD, he built a PD and he's deciding to build some land factories now. I think it'd be better to use that comm to pressure. You've got an offensive upgrade on that comm. Use engineers to build these factories and get yourself walking forward. Get that gun comm doing damage. Otherwise, it's kind of just a waste of time and resources to get that upgrade on your comm in the first place. We have a drop now out from Isma98. Going to be trying to deal some damage. You don't normally see the air players on maps like this do very much for most of the game until you hit the T3 air phase, but he is definitely not falling into that category as he's getting this drop pretty deep in. Now, how ambitious is this drop? Is this drop like, hey, I'm gonna drop the enemy air player? Because if it is, he might have some trouble. There's so much more time for this to be scouted and for players to see it, but it just doesn't seem that there's very much radar going on for Team 2, so drop does look like it's gonna land wherever he does want it to land, and it looks like he's going for Megaslav, the air player for Team 2. A bit of fighting breaking out here in the middle as well, but now that this transport is almost here, let's go ahead and just do a tracking camera on it. It's going to be dropping actually onto a Geneva Convention. Don't know if that is the best call. He did just fly over a mass extractor, so this has been spotted. Is he going to be able to get significant damage done is the question. The drop is incoming. Nothing is contesting it, so these Medusa artillery pieces will land. And we're not going to track that anymore, as we're going to watch these Medusa fire their little artillery cannons towards the mass extractors of Geneva Convention. But Geneva Convention's comm is still back here, so it definitely seems like this is just going to go the way of Geneva Convention. He's going to lose a couple mass extractors, sure, but not going to set him behind too far. It is a nice little bit of harass out from Isma98, but not going to amount to very much. Now this may be much more significant. A large drop coming out from Dodge Rod, and this is going to fully release its payload. All of these Zuis now coming out of this factory, out of these transports. The question is, can the units coming out of the factories of both the Black Rabbit and TMK deal with this in a timely manner? It does seem like there's a few tanks here. If the tanks can clear this up before it deals any significant damage, that would be brutal for Dodge Rod, who just invested a ton of mass into this drop. But, of course, that is the risk he's playing. He's going to try and focus down a T2 mass extractor as soon as possible. If he gets that, I would say it's mildly worth it, but not the value you really want to see out of this kind of attack. But the units out from the Black Rabbit not doing well. They did not chase down the Zuis, so the Zuis are going to get so much more damage than they deserve. Multiple T2 mexes going to be going down in quick succession to each other. So this is going to be a very successful drop. 4 T2 mexes in the end are probably going to end up going down. Maybe only 2 if TMK is lucky, but I think that third one's definitely going down. He might survive with 1 T2 mex. If this Zui decides to fire on it, it may still die. 91 HP. Is there enough artillery in the air? There is. All of the T2 mexes that were built up by TMK have now gone down, and that is going to be brutal for him. Mongeese on the front line now, trying to help Betalist get an advantage. He's finished T2 on the comm. He's starting to build up a bit of a fire base, but he's kind of behind the curve, as we can see that TMK has built up his own fire base, and it's going to be a little bit more effective. I'm not a fan of him putting all of his triad in a box like this. Spread them out more, place them closer to the edge of the shield if you want them to be more effective. But he is, of course, doing better than his opponent, and this push is going to peter out. The Mongoose going to be forced back. They may be able to kill off a couple of engineers if they are lucky. Their shield does go down, but just not fast enough, and they are forced out, not even claiming the life of this engineer. This engineer living on 10 HP. He's a very lucky soul. I would like to see that artillery piece finish off. It's so close to being done. Ugh. And as the intensity of this calms down for a second, we can step back and take a look at the reclaim numbers and economies. Team 1 now far ahead on reclaim, up to 21,000 versus 19,000, which I guess it's not that far ahead. Overall economies, looks like Team 1 is slightly behind, but they've managed to accrue more mass thanks to reclaim. And 1 second. Sorry about that. Heard a knock at the door, so I had to pause the game. It will be an instant cut for you, but it's been a few minutes in real life time for me. And overall, I would say that Team 1 is in a pretty strong position, but as far as the Navy goes, it looks like they're being pushed back on both fronts. Never mind, Dodge Rod is still doing okay. He's up to T2 Navy, has a destroyer out. T2 Navy also completed up for Puys, but T2 Navy seems to have been completed first for our yellow Aeon player, Dave. He has managed to get up a cruiser and a couple of destroyers, so those will be relatively effective at helping to deal with this frigate incursion. There is a destroyer out for Puys, but I'm not sure how well it's going to do against double destroyer and all of these submarines out from Dave. So, yeah, overall, I guess it's a relatively even trade, but in the end, Puys is going to be kind of petering out here on the ground game. And now we have mass Vipers starting to be formed up by the Black Rabbit. Going to be in any of these defenses that have tried to have been built up by Batalus is going to be completely for nothing. He's going to end up losing a lot of ground, and that more presently affects Hendrik, who's done very little so far this game. He's up to Tech 2 on land, but is that really going to do very much for him? He's at T3 air. He's managed to go for T3 air in the most frontal position. That is an interesting play. He is going to get a strap bomber up, possibly even before anybody else builds a strap bomber. Never mind, we have 2 strap bombers sitting in the back for Isma. I don't know what he's going for exactly with that. Maybe a snipe. We have a snipe attempt now rolling out from Megaslav. Is that going to be anything significant, or are these just on patrol for some reason? They're just on patrol. That is a strange option to do with a bunch of Corsairs. At least try the snipe is what I say. Shield is finished up for Hendrik. I'd like to see him get this comm a little bit more involved. He could use the comm to really push back these Vipers that are causing so much woe for Batalus. We also, of course, now have double Clinkhammer up for TMK. Gonna have to see if they can live up to the Clinkhammers from the cast the other day. See if they can also get to 5 veterancy. And over here, there is a ton of naval supremacy going on, and the naval supremacy is for the side of the Aeon. As I said, the Aeon are the best, and they are proving it here yet again, as the Aeon Navy is seemingly going to be able to take out the Navy of Puys, who is, of course, the dirty, filthy UEF that we do not like to associate ourselves with. Another note in the Navy, it does seem that there's been a tech rush out from the Doctor, but the Doctor is not doing all that great at actually rushing up his tech. He's gotten to tech 2, but he has less T2 units than his opponent does, so that is a bit of a F in chat moment. Vipers now being used to try and kill off destroyers. I don't think these destroyers pose a major threat, but there is a threat coming out from this cruiser built by Dodge Rod. That could be a problem in the near future. A naval factory going up for Geneva Convention. Geneva Convention, the highest rated player in the game at 1600, up to an air grid of 4 factories. The strat bomber that was building for... Is this still the same strat bomber? He's having so much trouble building this strat bomber. Hendrik, where are you? Can you afford it? No, you can't. You can't afford anything you are trying to do. Hendrik wasting a lot of mass to do a lot of nothing. But this strat bomber will be done very soon. I don't think it's going to be exceptionally effective, as Geneva Convention has a ton of ASF already, and there's also ASF probably about to be started, or actually already some ASF out on the field from Megaslav. We have a few strat bombers now building up for ISMA 98, maybe going for a snipe onto somebody, but gonna have to be careful. Building those strat bombers is not building ASF, and you need to build ASF if you want to have a decent chance at a snipe from the air working, unless you're just gonna hope and pray that Cybern's stealth bombers will save your day, but I don't believe that's going to be the case. The Navy has completely collapsed over here for Puig. He's been pushed back onto the land. He no longer has the right to produce naval units, and these Aeon destroyers causing huge issues. But now there are torpedo bombers in the water, and these destroyers have a very limited lifespan, along with the submarines. But the good news is that production-wise, it's going to be a bit of an unassailable position for Dave. Dave's going to be able to produce whatever the hell he wants Navy-wise, and he won't be, at least, he won't be stopped by the opposing naval player. We also have people forgetting to build mexes. He forgot that these mexes exist, apparently. He doesn't even have them queued up, which is a huge oversight, but, you know, that's how powerful the Aeon are. They don't even need their full economic power to beat you. And we have a strat bomber that has now been built up by Hendrik, immediately going north, which is a choice. Maybe not the best choice. We have 4 strat bombers now built up for the likes of ISMA 98. Let's go ahead and check in at overall economy numbers. Let's check on the big boys. Fat Hamster doing quite well for himself at 226 mass a second. ISMA at 117. Hendrik at 156. Beetalus at 129. Dodge Rod at 109. And we have a Corsair snipe on the way. It's been spotted out by Team 1. And it's looking to deal some damage over onto the likes of ISMA. But I don't think it's going to get through. There's a ton of shields in place. If this is going for the comm, this is a wasted effort, to be completely honest with you. And it is going for the comm, but the comm is underneath 2 sets of shields. Yeah, that was a complete waste of your time and effort. We were looking at economies. Puig, with the incursion of these destroyers, has been knocked down a peg, down to 55 mass a second, and the lowest mass other than maybe TMK, but no, TMK even slightly ahead of him. Then we have the Black Rabbit, another low-hanging fruit as far as economics goes, up to 76 mass a second. The Doctor at 129, Dave at 69, not doing very good for himself either. For getting those mass extractors definitely doesn't help. Megaslav over to 187, and Geneva Convention, not the highest in the game, but still quite high at just now getting over 200 mass a second. Fat Hamster leading the pack economically. Overall on Reclaim, it's 33,000 for Team 1, 31,000 for Team 2. And a large mass total lead now accruing for Team 1. Their economics have been just slightly better out of all of the players, while the aggression and the map control has really gone to Team 2. Team 2 doing a lot better at just simply having units and throwing them at the enemy, but not quite able to get an economic advantage, spending a lot more on units than their opponent, and their opponents aren't being punished quite as hard as you might expect. These Vipers and these Strikers out from the likes of the Black Rabbit and TMK are going to do a bit of damage, but the Vipers are firing into a firebase. Like, they will eventually break it, but the question is, how long does that take? Because that can be countered quite easily. We have Percivals on the field and Spearheads now, so It's really just a question of if these Vipers can deal any significant damage before something comes around to deal with them. Multiple Percivals now coming around. They have to deal with the fact that the terrain is definitely fighting against them. The Vipers trying to get some damage done, but tons of TMD, the Aeon variety, starting to shut down this Viper play, so that is just painful. The Vipers need to start falling back right now if they want to survive, and I don't know if the Black Rabbit has even noticed. Needs to start getting his Vipers back if he wants to be able to deal with this, and he is now going to give the order to fall back, but every time a Percival fires, a Viper dies. I know it's a very tragic story, but that is the way of the land, so most of these Vipers probably going to be cleaned up. Or not. It does not look like Betalist wants to chase them all the way back. Rightfully so. There is a large T2 army now out for the Black Rabbit over here coming to protect these Vipers. We have T3 Navy now completed for Geneva Convention, and he's going for Plan B nuke subs. Very interesting option. Since we are at a point where these players are kind of just either turtling or not really getting very much done, I'm going to speed it up a little bit and I'll keep commentating over what's happening. There's a gunship over here and enough T2 and T3 units that I don't think this run-by is going to be quite as effective as the Black Rabbit thinks it might be. Destroyers and frigates also going to come in, help deal some damage to this force. The frigate's going to go down, but the destroyer is going to be able to pick up a lot of kills and be very mass efficient right now as far as their damage is concerned. The Spectres being forced off by Geneva Convention. This attack is kind of slated to fail. If I'm being completely honest, there's no way with all of the routing issues they're having that they're going to be able to get through, and that is agreed upon by the Black Rabbit and TMK as they start falling back. Going to take some attritional losses as they fall back from their opponent, and Geneva Convention might be able to get a really good turn onto the ASF of Fat Hamster, but no, not today. Was not in the cards, did not happen. As far as all of those strat bombers go, I don't know where they went, but they aren't where they were, and they didn't do anything exceptionally significant, apparently, because I did not see anything major happen with them. Unless they are just hidden off in a corner that I'm not quite noticing. I'm not getting very much done whatsoever. Shocker over here, trying to help deal with the Navy, but the Navy out from Dave is definitely causing issues. T3 Navy completed. We have an Omen-class battleship starting to stroll up, and we have an aircraft carrier. Dave, despite having a relatively low economy, is really just putting ships out there, which is very impressive. I mean, his economy, I guess it's like all right, but he's getting outdone by some of the players who should have a lower economy than him. A large amount of air units dying over here. Torpedo bombers going down to the likes of Megaslav. These torpedo bombers aren't going to be an option for very much longer unless they can just wrestle air control away. But at the moment, air, while it's probably in the advantage of Team 1, is definitely not won by Team 1. And the naval units over here, these destroyers were killed off by the likes of the Doctor. So the Doctor now having a lot more air control than he had or a lot more naval control than he had just a minute ago. Starting to pressure down on to Dodge Rod, who is taking a lot of damage from these cruisers, killing off a few of his mexes, which is always a painful time. Not really much you can do, especially if you just didn't preemptively get up some tactical missile defense. You can start sending out engineers to do that, but they won't build it very quickly if your economy is not exceptionally strong. And his economy is getting weaker by the moment. We have a lot of strat bombers now out for Geneva Convention. I just want to pull this up really quick. The full share is not on, and we have a strategic launch detected. This launch coming out from the likes of Fat Hamster. So we've reached the nuclear stage of the game. We also have Plan B nuke subs in the water. I don't know where this nuke is going, but it will be interesting to find out either way. I would guess it's either going for Geneva Convention or Megaslav. Megaslav has an anti-nuke that's about to load, so if it's going for Megaslav, that could be absolutely horrible. It just finished loading. I don't believe there's an anti-nuke even built for Geneva, and it looks like it's going for Geneva Convention. And he is going to take the huge explosion right to the face, killing off his air grid and his air tech. So that kind of knocks Geneva Convention out of the skies. Speaking of which, was all of his ASF right there? they were. I guess they were, because he only has 6 now, and he had very much more than 6 just a minute ago. Strat bombers out from Geneva Convention, starting to deal some damage. It looks like they managed to get a few shots off onto. Oh no, that was a ground fire. He could have just killed the comm of Isma. Isma could be dead right now, but Isma isn't. What upgrade is Isma getting? Isma is getting Ras. Ras is finished up for Geneva Convention. There's a Fat Boy that just finished up for the likes of Betelgeuse. Let's go ahead and go down to just +1 as things are starting to get very spicy. That nuke hurts Geneva Convention quite a bit, but despite that, he's still at 236 mass a second. He can't really spend it, overflowing a lot to his team. I'm sure his team is thankful for it, as I'm sure somebody on his team is spending more mass than they can afford. Yep, this overflow is really helping out the production of the rest of his team, but I'm sure he is really unhappy about overflowing. Megaslava also overflowing, not spending their mass exceptionally efficiently. Looking at the reclaim this game, 56,000 for Team 1. Team 1 doing so much better on reclaim. 36,000 for Team 2 has not gotten very much reclaim very recently. That's probably about to change, as, never mind, I forgot, nukes kill Rex, so the Rex aren't even here for Geneva Convention to kind of just scoop up all of that reclaim. So despite all of that, Geneva Convention's almost at the same economy as Fat Hamster. Fat Hamster did a very good play with that nuke launcher, got a lot of value out of it. We're going to have to see if he can get another nuke off and deal some more significant damage, but I'm not sure that'll happen. Everybody's built anti-nukes, and I'm sure they're assisting him quite heavily. We have some Yasao out onto the field. Yasao, of course. One of the very funny episodes was actually on this map where I pulled up the Yasao ship girl image. I don't know what cast that was, but you can go look it up. And, yeah. 3 nuke subs now completed for Geneva Convention. They're kind of the only thing he has left. He doesn't really have that many ASF left. He has a strong economy. That's the one thing going for him. But needs to probably get some work done with these nuke subs if he wants anything to go on. Of course, the nuke sub is the Plan B. A very nice name. I think it's one of the best named units in the game. Plan B, such a good name. And these players, yet again, not very much going on. We have a Torrent-class missile ship. Oh, it's so beautiful. That's going in the thumbnail somehow. I don't care how. Probably won't be the only thing in the thumbnail, but that's going into it. As the Fat Boy starts rolling forward, has 9 kills, but there's already kind of a counter to the Fat Boy. There's multiple clink hammers up, and the clink hammers can definitely deal damage to the Fat Boy quite successfully. So the Fat Boy not quite able to be aggressive as of the moment. Another one queued up, could get up multiple Fat Boys and assault that position. A spider has now been built up by the likes of the Black Rabbit. Torpedo bombers coming out and getting shot down, trying to deal with the Navy of Dave.
Strategic launch detected.
Another nuke launched. Where is this one going? It's going to the front lines. It's going to the fire base. That's going to be able to open up the likes of the Fat Boy to fire. Is the Monkey Lord going to be caught in the crossfire of the nuclear explosion? Looks like that's a very real possibility, as the Monkey Lord's going to be very close. It could be going into the water though, and if it does get in underwater, it's definitely going to survive the nuke. It's not going to take any damage. That wasn't close enough. But the forward fire base of TMK now taken down. But I think that kind of protects TMK, and it protects everybody who built an anti-nuke. Everybody who built an anti-nuke will be defended from a nuke for the foreseeable future. There wasn't an anti-nuke built down here for the likes of the Doctor. At least not... Oh no, there was. So now everybody is protected from nukes, at least for the moment. And the air grid for Geneva Convention is coming back online. He's going to be able to start producing T3 air yet again. Megaslav also producing air. And maybe we'll see a few more people jump in on the air. On this map, you see a lot of people jump in on the air later on. For Team 1, we already have quite a few people who are in the air game. We have Hendrik, who is sitting on way too many strat bombers. Yeah, you have 9 strat bombers. Do something with them. Come on, do something. We also, of course, have Fat Hamster building a lot of air. And then, of course, you have Isma building air. A lot of airplay out from Team 1. We have a lot of players with T2 air. Everybody has T2 air on Team 1. At the very least, everybody has T2 air because of the simple fact that everybody's building torp bombers. The Navy has not gone particularly well for Team 1. Where are the nuke subs? They're trying to make their way up north. None of them are quite loaded yet. Is Geneva able to afford them? Yes, he is. They should be loading as fast as humanly possible, as long as he's not pausing them. Here at Willowcast, we pause for nobody. No matter how many times these players pause, we will keep on trucking. We have a large push coming out from Daedalus here in the middle. Fat Boy now battling the Navy, has some parashields coming up, trying to kill off this Navy to keep his Percivals safe from it. Bricks and Percivals fighting over here in the middle. The Bricks firing their large alpha damage salvos in towards the Bricks, the Percivals with those giant cannons. And Dodge Rod was defeated by... Whoa, what just happened? Dodge Rod was killed off by the Spider! The Spider out from the Black Rabbit came over here and killed him. I didn't even see that on the minimap, and I just looked at the minimap. There's ASF all over on top of it. And with that, no full shares, so this entire area is just a power vacuum. We're gonna have to see if Team 1 can manage to reclaim this area and take it over for their own. Geneva Convention after that nuke, still hurting, but he's managed to rebuild quite a bit. And that gives a huge opening now for Team 2. Team 2 can definitely abuse this side of the map. I'd be surprised if Geneva Convention keeps his nuke subs over on this side of the map, especially with the fact that now it looks like Please starting to get the upper hand on to Dave. Dave not quite focusing his economy well enough. Dave's still on a meager economy of 69 mass a second. He's trying to build Tempests and all of this other fancy stuff. He's living off of overflow, to be completely honest. And it's just not working for him, if we're being honest here. These nuke subs just on the edge of the map, they're such a threat. We've seen them be extremely effective on this map before. They have multiple nuke launchers now out for Team 1. Team 1 needs to start finding damage and meaningful damage. Another Monkey Lord has now been finished up by the Black Rabbit, who is just kind of played really well this game. Between the Viper harass earlier, stopping fire basing from happening, causing Team 1 to have to build up all of these tactical missile defense. It's definitely been a very nice game out of him, and now he's getting up Monkey Lords and Experimentals galore. Gonna start using those to just dole out damage. The air game has just been in the advantage of Team 1, but Hendrix is sitting on a ton of strat bombers, and he needs to use them.
Strategic launch detected.
A large Corsair snipe now coming in. I'm wondering if that's going to go onto the Fat Boy, but I'm not sure entirely. I don't know where this nuke was launched to, but if it was launched at any of the bases, it gets shot down. Yeah, in any of the bases, that nuke gets shot down. Not a base, that nuke survives. Looks like it's going to be coming down here towards the likes of Dave, but Dave was not loaded, but he was very close to being loaded. This nuke is going to get shot down, but the second one definitely goes through if he was going for the same spot. And if that's the case, that's going to give a kind of yin and yang effect to this map. It's going to be kind of going in a circular motion because this side of the map will collapse entirely. Well, maybe not. I guess the Tempest battleship went down and the Torrent went down, which is kind of unfortunate. But the Tempest can definitely hold its own against a relatively large T2 force quite easily. The strat bombers are coming in. The strat bombers are not coordinated well enough, so the anti-nuke is just going to shoot this down. Yeah, that nuke is not going to land. The strat bombers coming in, looking for a snipe onto the likes of TMK 2000. I don't know how many of them are going to drop their payload, but if it's a significant amount, oh! If they had just killed off that power generator, TMK would be dead. There's another strat bomber incoming, right? Oh, there isn't. Very close to being critical snipe there. The fire base up here, while not super significant, is helping out the likes of the Black Rabbit and holding off against this Fat Boy, getting a ton of value, is just shelling things from afar. Is there another Fat Boy finish? There is a second Fat Boy coming on to the front line. Another nuke has now been launched. I don't know where this one's going, but I'm guessing it could very possibly be going for the front line again. The nuke subs back in home territory. Looks like they're all about to finish loading up on their nukes. So we're going to have 3 wild nukes out into the wild, or 3 nukes in the wild very soon. Some Monkey Lords now going into the Navy, or into the sea, going to become naval units. Another nuke launched out towards the likes of Dave, and that's definitely going to kill off all of this, but Fat Hamster needs to move his units. Fat Hamster needs to move his units right now. This Soul Ripper is very dangerous. I didn't even notice the Soul Ripper finishing. I'm not noticing a lot of experimental stuff going on, but this nuke might even kill off some of the ASF for Fat Hamster. Doesn't kill off. That was a very bad nuke out from the likes of ISMA 898, but I guess at the very least does a little bit of damage. And these ASF are getting right on top of the Soul Ripper. The Soul Ripper going to survive, but only with 1,000 HP. Less than that, never mind, the Soul Ripper just goes down. But that's going to hand over air to Team 1. Team 1 has complete air control. Geneva Convention just lost all of his ASFs. It doesn't look like Megaslav is building that mini ASF. He's kind of just stuck on Corsair spam for some reason. And we have a Scathis now on the way for ISMA. And it is currently at 75 HP, not very much, so maybe we won't see it this game, but there is a possibility of seeing a Scathis in this game. Oh man, stay tuned. It is just now getting spicy. Double Fat Boy here in the middle. And it's gonna be one hell of a fight. The Fat Boy's starting to march forward. Fat Boy's now under pressure from the Loyalists pushing forward and a couple of Percivals. But there's a large Percival force here to help. 2 Monkey Lords came out of the water and are getting killed off by the Percivals. Percival's very good at killing off Monkey Lords, but are they enough? The Monkey Lords getting into... Oh, never mind. Both Monkey Lords going down. And these Fat Boys out from Betalist being extremely effective at killing off all of these units coming out from both the Black Rabbit and TMK. The Black Rabbit now is trying to push forward with some bricks. The Fat Boys having to fall back. They have a few parashields to maybe help survive. A ton of Corsairs now coming in and are going to be able to pick off one of the Fat Boys. The second Fat Boy might survive. No, it does not. Both Fat Boys going down in quick succession. And Betalist, despite getting so much damage done, killing off 2 Monkey Lords with his Fat Boys and Percivals, this push is going to peter out and he's going to have nothing left. I'm sure he's building another Fat Boy. Yeah, that he is, but it's gonna be a little bit difficult to deal with. This nuke could be huge, could knock out all of the frontal defenses of Team 1 or Team 2. But no, going yet again for TMK, and TMK is honestly one of the worst players you can go for at this point. Even Dave, if you snipe him, at the very least, with sniping Dave, you have the chance of killing off this Tempest that's causing some woes. But TMK just kind of doesn't own anything other than a few Clink Hammers and a Fire Base. He's not a huge factor in this game. He's not got any scary units that are going to hurt you. The 3 nuke subs all fully loaded with their first nuke, now moving out on this eastern flank, and there's a large naval hold out over here for the Doctor. But the anti-nukes, I'm sure, are loaded. 2 in this one. 2 here. This anti-nuke has 2. If that anti-nuke gets taken out by the Tempest, though, that could be disaster. The T3 area HQ for Hendrik going down. Not that he's used it to any great successes. He's going to use Strat Bombers to try and kill off the Tempest, but I don't think that's enough Strat Bombers to one-pass it. Oh my gosh, if he hits this Mass Fabricator, that killed off the... Oh, this is getting nuked. This is getting nuked. Hendrik just asked to get nuked. There's a Galactic Colossus now, which could just walk up and kill the Tempest. Especially after those Strat Bombers pass. The Strat Bomber's going to come in for another pass, so I guess the Tempest is dead either way, but... Maybe? Maybe it survives, actually. 20,000 HP. Do 4 Strat Bombers do 20,000 HP worth of damage? No, they do not. They do close, but not quite. But now the Torpedo Bombers are going to come in and be able to deal with it quite easily. Over on this eastern side, there's another Soul Ripper finished up for Fat Hamster. Along with a bunch of Whaler T3 gunships. And they're starting to push back the Navy of the Doctor. But the thing about submarines is they're underwater, and these 3 nuke subs are now starting to push in. There's 1 dead anti-nuke on the side of Team 2. And that is, of course, the anti-nuke that was built by Hendrik. Now, the second anti-nuke out over here does not really give Hendrik any kind of support, so there's a good chance if he launches nukes over here at this just kind of, like all of this base, that it just dies. The nuke subs, I do not know if they have been spotted. There's no ping about them, so, you know, that is a pretty good sign that they're not quite sure if they exist. The Megalith over here in the water killing off quite a bit of stuff. Megalith, underrated naval experimental. Kills off a SCU. You know, of course, also you have the strong synergy of putting the Megalith right here in the water. When you put it on the shoreline, it can both launch its torpedoes and shoot its battleship's cannons. The battleship cannons on it are very good for killing off enemy naval units. You can use the Megalith quite effectively as a defense against naval units. And triple nukes launching. Man, I wish I would have gotten a better picture of that, but triple nukes launching. These Plan Bs, a very scary predator. And we have... Oh, we have multiple explosions going off all at once from these Plan Bs. The map just becomes a white palette of doom and death. This area is going to be irradiated for the next 3,000 years or some shit like that. He is definitely going to be playing Fallout 2099. Or more like 2999. And that's kind of just the end of Hendrik. Hendrik may still be in the game. Wow, that GC survived multiple nukes. Survived 2 nukes to the face. Just does not give a fuck. But Hendrik now in the position of being on 221 mass, but having very little ways to spend it. I guess he's going for an emissary, which is an option. But now there's a ton of land units that can kind of just start pushing forward. The Black Rabbit, kind of the unsung hero of Team 2. Currently just the player who's producing the most stuff and throwing it at the enemy most consistently. But I guess you could argue that could also be the player known as Dave, who came over here and killed off that anti-nuke, making that triple nuke play a possibility. Also, really quick, I want to get a shot of a. I want to get a shot of one of these doing their thing. We'll have to keep an eye on them. I'm going to try and get a shot of one of them launching their nuke. And I don't know why we were on +3. Not like it really matters. I'm pretty sure I can't go faster than +0, can I? Nope, I can't. The mass gunship, all of these whalers going to be flying over this megalith, take off a third of its HP without any trouble. Laser finishing up for Fat Hamster, as well as Teleporter on the way. He's going to have Telemazer very soon. Is he planning to use that? Is that like, hey, I have a target in mind? In fact, he could go for this, because there's a Scathis built back here. Or building back here. There's a Scathis that just finished up for the likes of Isma. Man, that Scathis is gonna do damage. And with that Scathis, Team 2 has they've been in a strong position for a little while now, but that's going to start causing issues, especially since it's probably immediately going to fire on Megaslav and Dave, who are trying to build a Scathis of their own. Yep, the shots are raining in, and this is going to not hold up for very long. There's a lot of shields, but there's not nearly enough shields. Hot damn. Those shields are going to be fucked very quickly. Another volley firing out from the Scathis. We'll wait for the third volley to fire off. Alright. So, with that, we can go ahead and take our 45-minute look at economy. Reclaim. Team 1 up by nearly 60,000, no, more than 60,000, like 80,000 mass in Reclaim. And they are almost 500,000 mass total produced up. Team 1's doing so much better economically, but they've lost players and they've lost a lot of territory. And a support commander died somewhere, which, yeah, I couldn't care less. As far as overall economies, Team 1 producing nearly almost 3,000 mass a second, almost 2,000 for Team 2. So, yep, we had that Telemazer out from Fat Hamster. We were talking about it earlier. He Telemazers in, kills off the entire air grid of Geneva Convention for the second time. Geneva Convention just taking blow after blow this game. He's kind of been a punching bag. And, yeah, with that, Fat Hamster is going to start going around killing off a lot of this economy that's been built up by Geneva Convention. Geneva Convention still has a strong enough economy. No, he does not. He's living off of borrowed energy to try and load these nuke subs, which they're all loaded once. If they all get loaded twice... Oh, strategic launch detected. Come on, launch more than one. I'm keeping an eye on you, nuke subs. Are you all gonna launch more? Please launch more. Nope, doesn't look like it. Another experimental's been completed. Looks like a Fat Boy out of Betalus. 3 Fat Boys at the moment. And a nuke was launched, and that nuke landed on Fat Hamster. Geneva Convention sniped Fat Hamster and shot his own base with a nuke. He nuked his own base to kill Fat Hamster. Oh my god, I should have been paying more attention to the nuke. I was trying to get a pretty picture, and with that is a huge play out of Geneva Convention. That is going to be huge for the likes of Team 2. But Team 2 now still in a horrible position as the Scathis. The opposing Scathis is still here, but he doesn't have the economy to finish it. So this Scathis is the hero for Team 1. This Scathis needs to stay alive. Fat Hamster going down makes things a lot harder. Geneva Convention's now going to start coming in with his nuke subs towards the like of Isma 98. I'm sure he wants to kill off Isma 98. There are 3 Fat Boys and a 4th about to finish up over here for Betalist, he's gonna have a lot of fat boys, and there was also a GC at one point. I think that actually ended up dying. So these fat boys are gonna start becoming a critical mass. When you get a bunch of fat boys together, they kind of just start steamrolling through a lot of things. They have so much DPS from range, it gets a little bit ridiculous. But a large naval push out from both the likes of the Black Rabbit, who has now stepped his toe into the Navy, and the Doctor, who has been silently building up quite the naval force. And he is going to be able to keep pushing forward. There's torpedo bombers being mass suicided to just try and kill off cruisers, but that is not going to be enough, my good sir. And now Team 1 just needs this Gathis to do enough damage to stop the production of Team 2. Team 2 needs to be stopped production-wise if they want anything good to happen. These battleships are starting to blow apart Neptunes and Omen-class battleships. These T1 torpedo subs going to take forever to kill off all of this. A lot of health on a battleship. Takes a lot of T1 subs to kill it quickly. It looks like Geneva Convention's asking his team to try and kill off the Guardian strategic missile defense out from Isma. If that goes down, that could be significant. He currently has 2 loaded in the anti-nuke, and there is 2 nukes, so that is definitely a high priority to get. It's 3 anti-nukes, so yeah, now that needs to die. That has to be something that dies if we want to see these nukes do beautiful, beautiful damage to the likes of Isma. And the Fat Boys are pushing forward. There's 3 on the front line right now, all firing, not really caring about the Clink Hammer emplacements, just gonna push forward. Betalist decided he does not have a chance in this game if he does not get some meaningful damage done, and with the large attack that came out from the Black Rabbit earlier and all of his bricks now pushing around to the side, this is just kind of open as of the moment, and the Black Rabbit now being focused by the Scathis, the Calm of Geneva Convention rebuilding his base yet again after being nuked by his opponent, being telemasered, and then nuking his own base. He's kind of having structural issues. The foundation isn't quite great for him. And over here, the Fat Boys dealing large amounts of damage, but what we need to keep an eye on are the nuke subs of Geneva Convention and the anti-nuke of... one second. We're gonna go to split screen. We're gonna get rid of this. We want to keep an eye on this anti-nuke and an eye on these nuke subs. We'll get the Scathis in view too. This is all that matters in the game right now, except for maybe the Fat Boy push, which maybe I should cover that more heavily, but it's so hard to decide what to focus on. I won't do the split screen. I don't like it either. I don't like it when other casters do it. I'm gonna avoid it. We have Fat Boys now pushing forward, trying to deal significant damage to the likes of the Megalith, which the Megalith can kill off Fat Boys, but not when it's 1v3. It's probably going to go down before getting anything significant done. Do we have any more nuke launchers? The nuke launcher out for Isma, is it still alive? Or was it reclaimed? Looks like it was reclaimed. The anti-nuke for... The anti-nuke's going down! Oh, that's just the end of it. Geneva Convention's going to launch nukes out of these nuke subs.
Strategic launch
Detected. And I think that's all she wrote. With the Scathis going down, the only thing left is this Fat Boy push. And while the Fat Boy push may do very well, may get a lot done, I'm not sure if it'll be enough. Isma going down. This is why you build multiple anti-nukes. Or why you see people build multiple anti-nukes, but generally you can defend the one very well. He built his anti-nuke very far forward, which maybe you could criticize it, but still these players all playing one hell of a game. Pull the scoreboard back out, and Isma is now ejected from the game via nuclear explosion. And it's down to Queez, Betalist, and Hendrix is kind of a non-factor. He does have an emissary built. The emissary will be able to fire. We have a Scathis now finished up for Megaslav, and Team 2 is looking to win the game without losing a single commander. That doesn't sound close, but this game was relatively close despite there being only commanders dying for one side so far. Now, we always have the chance that TMK or the Doctor decide I'm not a fan of living anymore and just peace out, but that chance is much lower now. We have Fat Boys now pushing through, getting a lot of damage done. These Fat Boys doing a lot, and there's really not an answer at the moment for it. There's not really any T3 air. Geneva Convention needs to be careful with his comm. He's about to be under fire from Fat Boys if he is not careful. And Telemazer is maybe an option. I don't think there's any Cybern left. Yeah, no. There could be a teleport, but it won't be anything significant. It'll be a UEF or an Aeon comm. I'm going to go ahead and speed this up because I do not believe Team 1 actually has a chance to win this. The Fat Boys, while very nice and while they are a great push, they're about 10 minutes too late. This needed to happen about 10 minutes ago. A nuke now launched at the likes of Betalis. Betalis is going to lose his entire base now. And the plan B is Geneva Convention, the original, who was the homeless man with nuke subs. This time, not quite so homeless. He managed to hold on to his base a little bit better, but he was a homeless man with nuke subs at one point in this game, and he has redeemed that title. He is the only one in running contention. We have multiple people who are homeless men with guns, bricks killing off Hendrix. The Black Rabbit just out here making moves. Killed off Dodge Rod, killed off Hendrix. Black Rabbit and Geneva Convention, huge MVPs this game, but we also can't forget that Dave, Megaslav, and the Doctor helped them out quite a bit. TMK also had a stalwart defense for a very long time. These 4 Fat Boys on the front and a 5th one coming up the rear, going to be possibly significant, but it's getting less and less of a chance of winning by the minute. The nuke subs are staying alive. There's nuke subs now built by other players, so he has to kill off all of the economy of all of his opponents in order to have a chance to survive this. Were the nuke subs given to the Black Rabbit? Are these nuke subs originally the ones owned by Geneva? No, Geneva's nuke subs are over here, and they're all 5-vet. All of these 5-vet nuke subs. 1 nuke remaining in the chamber to fire. He could theoretically fire on the Fat Boys, which would be a funny idea. Megaslav coming out with the Cloak Commander. Does this have Omni? This is Omni, doesn't it? No, it doesn't have Omni. So, interesting. Does he have laser? I would assume he'd have laser, but no, the laser doesn't fire until it's already underwater. All the Fat Boys going underwater, but being fired at by a lot of torpedo subs and or subs from torpedoes, and also probably going to get reclaimed by hives. Like, you can just reclaim this, right? That one's going to die. This one's going to get reclaimed, isn't it? That's what I would do. Yeah, it's just going to get reclaimed. The health on it. Fat Boy going on a slim fast diet and has died. And with that, the game's kind of over. Betalis going to walk out of his base. I don't know what happened to the 5th Fat Boy, but it is also gone. And Betalis looks like he might die to a bunch of Zooey spam, which would be appropriate. You know, Zooeys. Always broken. That's a lot of nukes. Did he somehow nuke all of this and not hit Please? Betalis control Ks. Please, not long for this world. So I'm going to go ahead and do my outro. Thank you all for watching. You all have been beautiful. Like if you liked it. Subscribe if you watch my videos, and I know there's a lot of you like this. If you watch my videos, you watch them relatively consistently, but you don't subscribe because either you don't have a YouTube account or you don't want notifications. You can subscribe and get no notifications. There is an option to say do not notify me if this person uploads, but it helps me a ton. Yet again, like if you liked it, leave a comment down below telling me what you thought. I know that this probably wasn't my best as far as like camera work and like being on top of things, but I'm tired, so yeah. And that's the end of Squeeze, and the end of the game. Thank you to my patrons, Timothy Calderwood, Sergeant Syphilis, Nogthar, IC Nightmare, Mutant Gene Pool, and Idle Betazoid. You all are beautiful. If I missed one of you, I am sorry. And everybody here is beautiful. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!